They called it a prison, but it was no more than a sunless oubliette buried deep beneath the Varnathi stronghold on Garul Prime. Cold steel walls, constant wet dripping from unseen cracks above, and the stench of rot and despair clung to every breath. No windows, no light, no names, just numbers etched into iron collars. She had once been called Ashira, daughter of the Miron High Matron, commander of the Starlight Fangs. Now she was Subject 14, chained, starved, and forgotten. She had stopped counting the days. Her wings, once bright with bioluminescent color, were tattered scraps. Her violet skin bore scars from 1,000 punishments. Her eyes, golden and sharp, had dulled like dying embers. And her mind wandered. It slipped into memories, illusions, anything to escape the endless dark. But the humans, they were new. One by one they came. Captured in border raids, pulled from downed ships, dragged in chains across the same filthy floor. Most didn't last. The Varnathi broke them quickly. A few screamed, a few resisted. One tried to kill himself with a shard of plate. Then came him. Subject 32. A human male, tall, battered but upright. They tossed him in the far cell and slammed the gate. Ashira didn't care. Another meat sack. Another victim. But he did something the others never did. He looked at her. First she ignored it. Staring back in this place meant nothing. Eyes were hollow here. They stared because there was nothing else to do. But his gaze, it wasn't empty. There was heat in it. Life, like a fire in the fog. And then one day he spoke. "Hey," he said, voice hoarse but clear. "You alive?" Her laugh was more like a cough. "What does it matter?" "It matters to me." She turned slowly. Hair matted, chains clinking, voice cracked. "Why?" He shifted in his own cell, adjusting the shackles on his wrists. "Because I'd like to know who I'm dying with." That earned him a slow blink. Then a dry smile. "Ashira," she whispered. His lips curved. "Marcus." Time passed differently after that. The guards still came. The pain still followed. But now there were whispers through the grates. Questions. Stories. Marcus asked her about the stars. About her people. About what it felt like to fly. She told him. At first to shut him up, then because she wanted to hear her own voice again. And when she couldn't speak through pain or fear, he hummed old earth songs. Strange, low melodies that seemed to hold the walls at bay. She learned he'd been a Marine. That he'd survived 2 skirmishes on Titan's Reach. That he had a brother, a dog, and a favorite meal called mac and cheese, that sounded like warm heaven. And he learned about her mother's palace, about flying through silver gas storms, and about the death of her squadron. Ashira never cried anymore. Not even when they cut her wings to study the nerve endings. But one day, when Marcus slipped her half of his moldy bread through the bars, risking the whip to do so, her hands shook. "I don't need your pity," she muttered. "It's not pity," he said gently. "It's kindness. Kindness doesn't exist in the pit." He stared at her with those unyielding eyes. "Then maybe we bring it here." One day he was taken. Dragged out by 3 guards with prods. Ashira screamed for the first time in months. "Where are you taking him?" she shouted, throat raw. No answer. He didn't come back that night. Or the next. The pit grew colder. And she began to tremble. Not from cold. From the absence. Then 5 days later he returned. Thrown like garbage into his cell. Bruised. Burned. Barely breathing. Ashira clawed at the bars until her fingers bled. "Marcus. Marcus." He didn't respond. She whispered to him all night. Promises. Curses. Please. And when he finally stirred, eyes fluttering open, she felt like the stars had returned to the sky. Didn't miss me, did you? He rasped. Tears welled in her eyes, unbidden. You're an idiot, she whispered. His lips twitched. I know. That was the moment she knew she couldn't let him die here. Not like the others. She would get him out, even if it killed her. Ashira began to pay attention to the guard rotations, the shift changes, the way one of them limped after the third step, the way another drank too much of the vile bark brew during night watch. She watched, she planned. And when Marcus was strong enough to sit upright again, she whispered her idea. They think I'm broken, she said. You're not. I was. But you reminded me I'm not just a corpse in a cage. His hand reached through the bars. Hesitant. And for the first time since capture she took it. The plan required desperation. A performance she no longer needed to fake. She screamed when the guards came. Begged. Cried. Played the victim. They laughed. Opened her cell. Tried to take liberties. But Ashira had studied pain. She knew where the neck met shoulder. Where cartilage bent under pressure. She crushed a throat with one arm and stole the key ring from the second as he gasped his last. She freed Marcus. He could barely run, but he followed. Together they crept through the ducts. Past the vats of dissected prisoners. Past the control rooms where scientists watched misery like entertainment. Ashira wanted to burn it all. But Marcus gripped her hand. Later, he whispered. Freedom first. They reached the top level. And then the alarm shrieked. Varnathi troops stormed the halls. Ashira shoved Marcus behind a containment crate and dove forward, grabbing a discarded shock baton. She moved like a blade in wind. Even broken, even thin, she was still Ashira of the Starlight Fangs. They didn't expect resistance. Certainly not from a near-nude, malnourished prisoner. But their shock turned to blood as she moved through them. Marcus grabbed a fallen blaster. Covered her back. One shot too. His breathing ragged, his aim true. Left, she shouted. He fired. Duck! He rolled. When the last body hit the floor, silence returned. But not safety. The escape pod chamber was 3 corridors away. They ran. A stray bolt hit Ashira in the side. She stumbled, gasping. Marcus caught her. No, you don't stop now, he growled. You're the one who got us this far. Her legs trembled. I'm slowing you down. Then I'll carry you. You're injured too. He smiled through bloodied teeth. I don't leave people behind. You idiot, she whispered. Yeah, he said. You've mentioned. They reached the pods. Only one remained. She slammed the override. The door hissed open. Get in, she said. No. You're worse off. I can't fly it. I don't know how. He hesitated. So she did the only thing that worked. She kissed him. His eyes widened. It was messy, tired, painful, but real. When they pulled apart, she pressed his hand to the controls. You reach for me in the dark, she said. Now reach for the stars. Get help. I'll come back, he swore. You better. The door sealed. The pod launched. And Ashira turned to face the oncoming storm. 3 weeks passed. The Varnathi interrogated her, tortured her. But she didn't break. Not because she hoped, but because she believed. Marcus had promised. And Marcus kept his promises. On the 21st day, the sky cracked open. Earthships rained fire on the facility. Marines stormed the gates. And leading the charge, armor scorched, rifle raised, was Marcus. He found her in the lab, strapped to the wall, barely breathing.